Episode number 4, the countdown to the publishing drop date of this amazing historical perspective of the infantry of the history of baseball. Grinders, baseball's intrepid infantry. My name is Shawn Clynch. I'm the host of Stories Inside the Man Cave podcast and a good friend of the author, that being Mike Capps, you see on the bottom. He is currently the voice of the AAA Baseball's Round Rock Express and the VIP guest of honor who is joining us here for episode 4, a guy he goes by the name of Low. You know, in baseball, there's nicknames galore for everybody, but Low just makes sense because his name is actually Lorenzo Bundy. He's currently the manager of the Winston-Salem Dash. That is on the East Coast in the Carolinas. And Cappy is so well connected to so many eras of baseball. And this guy's one of them. And I have to say, he's from the era I like to call the hardball era, the era in which this guy who had hair back then, that's the baseball generation that I really gravitated to. Cappy and Low, take it away.
Let me just say this. The hair is standing, what hair I have is standing on the back of my neck. The great Branch B. Rickey, who was the president of the Pacific Coast League for years and years until Major League Baseball did away with leagues for some unknown reason, told me when I told him that Lorenzo Bundy was going to be in my book, he said, there should not be a book if Lorenzo Bundy is not in it. That's how highly regarded this man is. That's how wonderful his story is. And let me just, before I ask you the first question, though, let me tell you what happened, what the amazing, just a brief snippet. So Lorenzo Bundy is drafted originally by the Baltimore Orioles, does not sign. He finishes 4 years at James Madison. He's still the second leading home run hitter for James Madison.
Wow.
Hughes. He signs on with the Rangers, ends up released, and in the Pirates camp, he actually paid his own way to go to this camp. Paid his own travel down, paid his own room and board, and freaking made a team. And Branch was somewhat involved in that. Tom Kaiser, the former president of the Texas League, was somewhat involved in that. Well, that says Grinder, anybody who is so willing to put his baseball life, his professional life on the line like that, needs to take a bow. Talk to us about this. It's just incredible.
It was truly a situation where I had a chance to sign my junior year after being MVP of the Shenandoah Valley League. And Brad Babcock, the late Brad Babcock, who passed away, he told me, he said, you going to sign? And this offer came right probably 10 days before it was time to go back to school. And so I had like 10 days to make up my mind. He says, well, if you feel like you want to sign, you do what you have to do. And if you're not, you'll be my best player when you come back. And so eventually we couldn't come to a deal. And I went back for my senior year, and I don't regret it one bit. And we had a great senior year, but we didn't get drafted. 1,000 people got drafted, and I wasn't one of them. And that something that the three best hitters in the state of Virginia were Franklin Stubbs, Sid Breen, and myself.
Pretty elite company.
Wow.
And that's the truth, and the numbers will back that up also. But anyway, signing with the Rangers, it took a while to get to those tryout camps, free agent camps, and this and that, and finally, Joe Bronzil, the same scout that had signed Billy Sample from Madison, he called and he said, "Low, would you be interested in flying down to Asheville for a tryout?" And I said, sure. He goes, and he told me it was a month to go in the season. And he said, take enough clothes to stay. And so I went down, I worked out, and Joe Klein was in town, and he signed me.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I finished out the year in Asheville with some good friends, Curtis Wilkerson and Tommy Dunbar and Amos Lewis, Dwayne Henry, guys that
Oh, yeah.
3 out of 4 of those guys got to the big leagues, you know. And so it was so now I go to spring training the next year with the Rangers, and I play well and I get released. So it just when the thing with Pittsburgh came up, a friend of mine knew some people in the Pirate organization and got me a tryout with Johnny Lippon, who was managing the Alexandria Dukes, and I worked out, and pitching coach was Danny Warthen there at that team with that team. Danny threw me BP, and he asked me where did I like it, and he said down, and I said down and in. So he proceeded to down and in me for about 15 minutes and I never thought of myself as a guy that was going to go out and put on a show in BP or anything like that. But that's really what it had to be done, you know. And Lip goes, God damn, you can hit. And he says, you're coming to spring training. So with that moment, I'm excited, and you know, I go. I'm working out at James Madison, you know, with the team and stuff like that, and so I get a phone call from current GM Murray Cook, and minor league director. And he says, Lorenzo, I understand that Johnny Lippon invited you to spring training. And I said, yeah. He says, well, you know, really, Johnny didn't have the power to do that or this or that, you know. He says, well, if you're going to come, you know, we don't have housing for you. We can't give you any type of travel money or anything like that. If you come, it's on your dime. And I said, Murray, okay, I'm coming. And then I asked him, when do you want me there? And he says, well, first spring training game was March something, whatever. I said, yeah, but what about, you know, the week to 10 days of, you know, before you start playing games, you know, batting practice, fundamentals, ground balls, this, that, you know. He says, no, you report for the games. So everything to discourage me from not coming. And so that's when I showed up. And, you know, I bust down, and then I had to find a hotel that was close to the complex because I didn't have a car.
Well, it wasn't that close to the complex. You had to walk every day, right?
I walked. I was about 4 miles from the complex.
Oh my God!
And so I would get up at 5:30, and I start walking at 6. And sometimes somebody picked me up, sometimes they didn't, you know, but that was the case. And so I started, and first game, we went out, and I think I was batting 5th, and my first at bat, and I hadn't seen a batting practice pitch or anything. The only thing we had done was when I was at home with my sister was wiffle balls. She flipped me wiffle balls and softballs. So I hadn't seen a live pitch for about 10 to 12 days because James Madison had left to go on their southern trip. So I was on, you know. So I hit my first at bat. It was a line drive, RBI single to right field. I let it come around the score, and big old guy by the name of Willie Starger walks up to me and says, hey, young man, I like your swing. He goes, I'm Willie Starger. And I'm like, first of all, I know who the hell you are. And then I go, Willie Starger likes my swing. That was like, oh boy, that's pretty special. He says, keep up the good work. Well, I proceeded for the next 2 weeks to just hit everything in sight. crushed everything. So now we're getting towards the end of spring training, and I have exactly enough money to get back home by bus if Pittsburgh doesn't sign me. Well, I skipped something. Murray Cook leaves. Murray Cook goes to the Yankees during the winter. Branch Rickey takes over the minor leagues. So Branch calls me and tells me the same thing. I understand that Lip had invited you. You have the same deal that Murray had proposed, And I said, Branch, I'm coming. And so that's how I got there. So now I go to Lip and I go, Lip, I have exactly enough money. I don't know what it was, 60 or $50 or whatever, to get on the bus and get back home. So he says, let me go talk to Branch. So Lip goes, talks to Branch. The next day, he comes up to me and he says, where are you staying? I said, this little hotel right here off of 83rd Street or whatever it is. He says, I'll be by tomorrow morning at 6:30 to pick you up. You're moving into Pirate City. So I moved into Pirate City, and my roommate, one of three other guys that were in the room, Bobby Bonilla.
Oh my God!
So Bobby's my roomie and one of my roomies, and so we're, and now we're getting towards the end of spring training, and guys are getting released during spring training. And there was a big first baseman, big power hitting left-handed first baseman, number one pick, high school guy. I think he was from Austin, Texas, if I'm not mistaken. Guy by the name of Brad Garnett. I don't know. You may want to look him up later on. You guys have some time or whatever. Brad was the number one pick. Big power. Big swing and miss guy also. But I guess Brad had been around for like 5 years and hadn't gotten out of A-ball. But that was one of the names that they mentioned, Brad Garnett, Nick Castaneda. We have left-handed hitting first baseman, power hitters, and this and that. You can't compete with those guys and this and that. And I blew right by those guys. Well, Nick, we ended up playing on the same team. But the thing about Pirate City at that time, intercom system, no phones in the room or nothing like that. If somebody needed something, or if you had a phone call or something like that, Lorenzo Bundy report, you have a phone call. Well, it was Lorenzo Bundy, please report to Tom Kaiser's office. So it happened to be raining that day. We didn't play. So you're in your room, watching TV, sleep, whatever. So I report to Tom Kaiser's office, and Tom goes, he says, Lo, would you sign right here? And by the way, I had to sign a waiver before I played in a game saying that if I got hurt, that Pittsburgh was not responsible for any of my medical bills.
Oh my goodness.
So I said, sure. So Tom hands me a contract. I sign it. Whatever the amount of money was for monthly, minor league, standard minor league contract, whatever. And then he asked me, he says, Lo, what was the closest airport to your hometown? I said, Richmond, Virginia. And he says, do you happen to have the receipts from that hotel you were staying at? Which I did. So I got reimbursed for those things. And Brad Garnett was released. And I signed, and I go on to go to the Carolina League in 1983.
Lo, that is a magnificent story, but we really don't have enough time to cover the entire ground.
Yes.
You went from there to AAA, AA, AAA. Then you become a coach and manager, and just give us a brief. I mean, you are a legend in Mexico as a winter league manager and as a player, and you met your wife down there. The whole thing. Lorenzo Bundy is a hero in Mexican baseball. I mean, that's just a known fact. we only have about 5 minutes in this program, but let's do that really quickly because I could sit here. Listen, I'm telling you, I could sit here and talk to Lorenzo Bundy.
I could too. There is no doubt about it.
Everybody in my neighborhood in Northwest Austin is asleep, and I'd be going at 4 in the morning and still jacked up about talking to them. But Mexico has been such a huge part of who you are as a man, as a husband, and as a baseball.
Yes, it has. My first winter league was in Colombia, and it was a great year, great time. Won the championship, and I thought I would go back to winter ball in Colombia the following year because of the success I had. Didn't happen. I ended up Pittsburgh scout Angel Figueroa got me a job in Culiacan. We won the Caribbean World Series. I played well in the Caribbean Series. So Roberto Mansur, the owner of the Mexico City Diablos, he sees me play. They have a working agreement with Pittsburgh. So this was the spring of '85. I played winter ball in '84. So Mansur wants me to play for Mexico City. They have a working agreement. They get players. Vicente Palacios was one of those players that went from Mexico City to the Pirate organization. Lorenzo Bundy's optioned down to Mexico City. Long story short, on that part, I played in Mexico City for 4 years. We win 3 championships. The year we didn't win, I hit 40. Not my fault. The Winter League, I played in the Winter League for 6 winters, 5 years in Culiacan. The 6th year I played in Mazatlan. That's where I met my beautiful wife, Lupita, where we celebrated 31 years of matrimony yesterday. So you guys are right on time with that. I've managed 26 years in the Winter League. I'm the second all-time winningest manager with over 750 wins. 3 championships with 3 different teams. So Mexico has been a very big part of my life, both professionally and personally, as far as meeting my wife of 31 years. So I there's nothing bad I can say about Mexico. They've been a big part of me.
Let's finish this way because we've got less than 2 minutes. To me, every person that we profiled in this book has had their own tremendous grind story. It's hard to beat Lorenzo's because I mean, how many kids nowadays would jump on a bus by themselves and pay the whole way for the chance? But Lo, the last question is this: you do this again in a heartbeat, wouldn't you?
Right away. I tell you, baseball has been my calling. It has allowed me to go to work every day loving what I do. And the grind, the kids, my lesson to them is millions and millions of people go to work every day to do a job that they don't like. They do it because they have to do it. They have to take care of their families. They have to pay the mortgage. They put food on the table. I said, you have the opportunity to come to work every day. And I mean, you're playing a kid's game. It's not I do it all over again in a heartbeat. This game is that special to me. And, the game's changing, but I still love it. I still love it, and that's why I'm still doing it.
Well, I want to tell you something. I consider you a great friend, and baseball friends, Shawn, you got to understand. If Lorenzo Bundy called me from Arizona tonight and needed me, I would be on a plane. And the same thing would happen if I had to call him. He'd do it. I mean, I know him. And that's the beautiful thing about this. And it's why this book is so great. Is Lorenzo Bundy. I love the guy and I love his story. And there's a lot more to it. And when people pick up this book, they're going to see there's a lot more to it. And Lo, I tell you, I owe you from here to the end of the earth for being with us, number one. And number two, being the guy you are. I really appreciate you.
Well, thank you, Mike. I mean, our days of going to Round Rock and hanging out in the dark hole.
Yeah.
Yeah. But believe me, people that have a passion for baseball I think our baseball family is it's a special group of people that we get a chance to do what nobody else does. And a lot of people would trade places with us, I think, to do what we do. And I just want to make sure that I don't cheat the kids. I don't cheat the people in the game. And the game is that special that we need to take care of the game.
It is. And thank you so much for being you, partner.
I appreciate it.
Take us home, Shawn.
Tell you what, all these episodes, these previous 3 and the 4 after this you're going to leave a mark on you. This right here, truly defined when you see that hashtag on what kids, well, all of them. I'm not going to blame the kids. All of us are on social media. Hashtag baseball family. This is a prime example of what that means. This is the meaning of baseball family. And Lorenzo, it's been a pleasure to meet you virtually, and hopefully through Cappy, we can all meet up either in Arizona or in Round Rock at the Dell Diamond sometime.
Somewhere. The paths will cross again.
Yes, they will. Yes, they will. Hey, side note, Lorenzo was part of building the foundation at James Madison University, which played at the College World Series in Omaha.
Against the Texas Longhorns.
That's right.
I graduated 2 years before that. That same year of '83, playing in the Carolina League. Burke Goldthorne was our catcher in the Carolina League with Pittsburgh. And we were playing in Salem, Virginia. Results update on the score from the College World Series. Texas 8, James Madison 3 in the 5th inning. And Goldie calls comes to the mound, and he calls me over, and he goes, and that night after the game, I told Bobby, all right, we're going to get a 6-pack, which is always good because Bonilla would drink 1 and I drink 5. That's
boy.
Yeah. And the game was replayed on ESPN at 2:00 in the morning. So I'm sitting up and I'm watching this game and I want to see what the hell happened.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, the mighty Texas Longhorns with their slapping and bunting and stealing bases. They couldn't hit their way out of a wet paper bag.
We're holding a grudge here.
Yeah, I did.
This is a great way to end.
That's a great way to end it.
I mean, but yeah, Roger Clemens and Calvin Schiraldi, they were okay now. They weren't bad.
They're okay. Love you the best.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you. And we are halfway to the publishing date. The last 4 episodes, the second half of this series of podcasts, Grinders, Baseballs, Intrepid Infantry. Be sure to share this episode and all the other ones on your social media as Mike Capps tells the story and teases you leading up to the publishing day. Gentlemen, it's been a pleasure as always. And we are out.